Hello everyone and welcome back to my studio, or actually not quite the studio today. I'm out in the countryside soaking up some well-needed rest and fresh air. It's been such a lovely escape and I thought it would be the perfect time to do a relaxed, dreamy draw with me. So today I'm sharing a sketch that's not my usual subject or style. It's not food, but that's kind of the point. I really believe that your sketchbook should be a place for freedom, exploration, and even a little bit of mess. It's where we get to play, try new things, and maybe even surprise ourselves. Not everything has to be polished or perfect, and sometimes the most valuable lessons, I think, come from just letting go and enjoying the process. So grab your sketchbooks, or just sit back with a cup of tea, and let's have a little draw together. I wanted to share something lovely I was gifted recently, this gorgeous set of pencils from a brand called Woomer. First of all, I just want to say thank you to Woomer for sending them over. I've been testing them out over the past few days and I'm really impressed. What I actually appreciated is that they didn't ask me to say anything specific. They didn't ask me to wear a full face of makeup, or they didn't ask me to do my hair. They gave me total freedom to make anything I liked based on their pencils and just give a really honest review of them. So there were no scripts and there was no pressure, just a genuine gift and total freedom to try them out and share my honest thoughts. And honestly, that kind of trust from a brand is really refreshing. So thank you, Woomer. These pencils are oil-based, which gives them this beautiful, smooth, buttery feel on the page. And I was able to blend them and layer them really nicely, which you will see a bit later on in the video. There was no weird build-ups or waxiness, which is amazing. And they're made from lindenwood, which has a really light feel in your hand, and it sharpens really well as well. I use a Faber-Castell sharpener, which has got a coloured side that you can do, and it gives a really sharp point on these pencils, which is always a plus. Now, they're not completely waterproof, so you want to be mindful if you're mixing with wet media. But what is great is that they are drop proof. And yes, I did test that thoroughly, not on purpose. As I opened this tin, loads of pencils did drop out and land all over my sketchbook. So if you can see little black dots and little blue dots on this page, that's why. I tested it so you didn't have to. But none of them broke and they didn't crumble, so that's fantastic. One of my favourite features though is that they're sunlight fast, and that means that the pigments in these pencils are resistant to fading, so when they're exposed to light over time, it doesn't fade. This means that the pigments in these pencils are resistant to fading when exposed to light over time, so your artwork will stay vibrant and beautiful, whether it lives in your sketchbook or gets framed on a wall. And while I still have my heart set on having the Holbein pencils, because let's be honest, they've been on my wish list and I've been talking about them forever, these Woomer pencils have been such a lovely surprise, and they've definitely earned their own spot in my toolkit, and I can see myself reaching for them regularly. And I know my daughter is going to absolutely love using these too. By the way, the sketchbook I'm using is the Royal Talens Art Creation Sketchbook in A4 size. It's got this lovely texture that takes pencil really well, and it's really good for layering too. You can use alcohol markers and wet media in here, but if you're using alcohol markers, just make sure that you're using the plastic page underneath so that it doesn't bleed through, because they will still bleed through this sketchbook. Something I always say is that a messy sketchbook can be so freeing. It's a place to explore, to play, to make ugly drawings and wonderful discoveries as you're on your art journey. But truthfully, I do need to remind myself of that sometimes too, especially when I'm sharing pages on YouTube. It can feel like there's a real pressure for everything to look finished or good. So if you've ever felt that way too, you're not alone. I think it's a normal thing for us creatives to feel like everything either has to be finished or it has to be a good piece. But honestly, sometimes I just make really crap art, and that's okay because I learn stuff along the way, and it's kind of how I've got into my comfort zone with certain things. But with this picture, it's not something I would ever normally do. I don't know where it came from. I think I was scrolling Pinterest and just came across some tarot cards and thought, I might have a go at that. And isn't that lovely that even though it wasn't something that I would usually draw, my food is my go-to usually. Any of my subscribers know that that is what I usually would draw. So this for me was just a big learning curve. The light keeps changing in this video because I was in different locations in our little cabin in the countryside over the Easter bank holiday weekend. Sometimes I was outside in the sunshine and sometimes I was inside, just having all of this wonderful time. Everyone was chilling around me. And there's just something really freeing about having that time. No deadlines, no emails, no work, just a sketchbook, some pencils, big wide open skies, and being away from the usual city noise. It's reminded me how important it is to carve out time for ourselves creatively, even if it's just 10 minutes here and there to draw, or to just think, or just be. It's just really important, and it's certainly something that I really value because being creative and having this outlet to draw is so good for my mental health. It's been lovely to just sit quietly and draw while looking out over green fields and rolling hills. I think sometimes we forget how healing creativity can be, especially when we're busy. Work life, family, work, it all just gets so full. But creativity isn't just a luxury, it's something I think we need. I know it's something I need. It's time to reconnect with ourselves and our purpose, I think sometimes. Even just putting pencil to paper with no pressure, for me, just feels like a bit of a reset. I'm on Easter holidays at the moment, and for me, having a break away, but also having this freedom to draw, freedom to colour, not having to think whilst I'm doing it, is just a huge pause for me. And I find it really, really helps to make me fully relax. I'm so sorry that this footage is so shaky sometimes, but I was on a fold-away table in a cabin in the middle of nowhere, and sometimes you just have to deal with what you're given. So if you see shaky shaky, you know why. I should have rubbed out the pencil lines on these drawings. When I'm using such light colours like the white and the pink, it sometimes turn the colour really muddy, so I was quite annoyed with myself. And I hadn't taken a rubber away with me, of course. So unfortunately, looking back, I really wish I'd have rubbed out or just made the sketch a bit fainter so it didn't taint the rest of the colouring, but these are lessons learned. I'm really trying to work on shading, and I'm not very good, I don't think, at adding areas of light and dark to my pieces, so it's something that I'm going to be taking some Skillshare classes on. I look at other people and how they do their light and their shading, and just trying to have a go, really. I wish I'd have taken more footage of me actually sat here in the beautiful sunshine and rolling hills, but alas, I totally forgot to do that. But just rest assured that around me was beautiful, beautiful countryside of the northeast of England in County Durham, which is where we stayed. I did put some footage at the beginning of where we were staying in our beautiful cabin, but it was just so peaceful, surrounded by lambs and wildlife. The children were free to run. There was horses in the field next to us, and it was just so peaceful and so inspiring. I didn't come into this sketch with a big plan. I just wanted to enjoy the moment and let it unfold. And that's okay. Not everything we make needs to be polished or finished or perfect. Sometimes just creating is enough. And honestly, these Woomer pencils have made the whole process a joy. They've definitely earned a permanent spot in my pencil roll. My idea for this piece at the beginning was to have it covered in cherry blossoms for spring, because on my road we have some of the most beautiful cherry blossoms at the moment, but it didn't turn out quite like that as I was drawing. I don't know why. I think I wanted to stick more to keeping the clouds and the sky as the main focus and not the flowers, and having the pinks and purples and yellows in the centre of the drawing and not having too much focus on the flowers. Ultimately, I like the end of the piece and how it turned out, and just adding those little details so you know it's blossom. But originally I did intend on having those flowers at the bottom, different colours, almost like a wildflower field, but instead they are like blossom bushes, they look like. It's my world, and if I have blossom bushes, then I can have blossom bushes if I want them there. This table was so wobbly. It was a bench outside. It was either wobbly inside on the fold-away table, but it was mega wobbly outside as well. That's why you can see me like holding on for dear life at times. I was really trying hard not to let it shake, but as I was having to press hard on some places to blend the colours, like here, it's really, really wobbly. So sorry about that. It's making you feel a bit seasick as you're watching. I sped this up because it took so long to do the outside, colouring it all in. But ultimately I really wanted a border. I decided to use a black outline across all of the piece, and I'm really glad I did. The only issue I had, this is the Ohuhu fine line markers, and I loved it. It didn't smudge or do anything like that, but they do get easily blocked, the nibs do, if you are going over pigment. It's not as bad on alcohol markers or watercolours, but on gouache, pencil, acrylic, it can clog, and you just have to put them in warm water and they unclog. But I got quite frustrated and annoyed at times, and I waited until I got home to finish the rest of this piece with the black outline, but I was really pleased with the final result. I then used the Gelly Roll the Gelly Roll pen, the white one, to go over the stars and all the little, I don't know what they are, beady areas. And it's like a paint, but I love these pens. I did try and use my Posca pens in one of my pictures not so long ago, and it just, all of the water came out. I don't think I shook it properly. And so these, I think you get more of a flow, like a manageable flow with these pens. And this is the finished piece. Beautiful. I love it. So I wanted to test out the pencils on top of alcohol markers. So I did a really quick sketch one of the mornings at home of some strawberries. Mr. Bell said they are raspberries, but they are definitely strawberries. So here is a super quick 3-colour alcohol marker. Definitely got my little sheet underneath. So this was a super quick drawing. And here I am just layering the pencil on top for the fine details, and they layer on alcohol marker really, really well. And I think you can get some good textures, build up the shade and the light areas, and I really like the way it turned out on here. This, like I say, this was super quick. It was like a 10-minute drawing, but I love the look of alcohol markers and pencil. I just think it's a really nice, vibrant piece. And then just the highlight details in the white pen. And here it is. Big yes from me for the Woomer pencils. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this little draw with me video, and I hope it's inspired you to create some sketches in your sketchbook. Please like, please subscribe, and I'll see you next time in my studio. Happy drawing! Bye!